Greetings, Padawans, and welcome to the Archives. Here to unlock this holocron, here's the man of the hour, Jedi Master SoTeeko.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is your boy Trevor Jackson. We are back for another edition of the Archives podcast. So go ahead, grab your Mantel mix, grab your favorite glass, fill that bad boy up with some blue milk, because we have a very fun episode for you. And we're going to kick things off today with some galactic dispatches. Normally we do save these for the end, but it's been a while. It's been a while. It's been a while. So I figured, why not open up the show with some galactic dispatches. And I think we got to stand up for this, ladies and gentlemen. Take a gandy at the Vivere hoodie, which you can check out. Link will be in the description. You can get the hat as well, the Star Wars, the Archives podcast hat as well, as we are always trying to market ourselves a little bit better than we have been in the past. But welcome to the Archives podcast. This is episode number 37. And the grand scheme of this episode, the grand idea is going to be talking about the Chosen One prophecy. Now, I know that we've talked about this in episodes prior, but when we have really good questions like the ones that we're about to answer, kind of makes you want to talk about it a little bit more, and it kind of makes you want to talk about what's going on lately in Star Wars, in the news. Of course, it's been a little bit since we've made an episode, so we've got tons of news to dive through, tons of things to talk about, and a couple of things that you're going to obviously see that we're not talking about. So without further ado, let's get right into the Archives podcast. Today, we're going to be running through the Galactic Dispatches, and then we've got Kim's Picks, Nuclear Hot Takes. We have the Legends Ledger, Hyperspace Highlights, Question of the Week, and our Holocron Insight Final Thought. So without further ado, let's get right into these wonderful questions. First question coming in today from HenDude127. What are your opinions on Hayden's acting versus the script writing in the prequels? Do you think his facial expressions were great, but the script was hard to act, as I do? So I truly believe that, and you guys know me, you know I only love talking about in-universe stuff, right? Anytime we get into actual acting, anytime we get into things that are behind the scenes, behind the camera, or even in front of the camera in this case, you know I love to stay in universe, right? But when it comes time for something that I am also very passionate about, which is acting, which is writing, truthfully, listen, like, you can criticize the dialogue, you can criticize, I don't like sand, it's coarse, it's rough, and it gets everywhere. You can criticize that. But you'd be a dummy to do it. I task you, write something better than Star Wars Episode 2, Attack of the Clones. Go ahead. Write something better. Because for my money, you know, like, I don't have my wallet on me. I know I have about $50 cash in it. For my money, Star Wars Episode 2, Attack of the Clones, is the most important Star Wars movie of all time. Now hear me out. We'll talk in order. Star Wars was a breathtaking and immaculate conception from the mind of George Lucas. He had the story for Star Wars, Empire, and Jedi. That was all one story. It was done and dusted. It was ready to rumble. It was ready to go. But in order to tell the story, he needed to slow it down. He needed to break it up and make 3 pictures rather than one big picture, because when he was able to secure sequel rights from 20th Century Fox, he in essence knew that he just made the next great picture, that he just made the next great franchise. And you have to give him credits and you have to give him plaudits, because having the wherewithal and the understanding that he did have more story to tell than just the beginning, right? Star Wars was so important to get everything off the ground, to get everything moving, to get everything in motion. Empire was going to succeed no matter what. It was going to succeed no matter what. The first Star Wars was absolutely brilliant. It was breathtaking. It was perfect, right? Empire was only going to be better. And because Empire was so significant and so important and so great, you then had Jedi that just had to conclude it. And by golly, did it conclude it? Did it tell such a beautiful story? Such a transcending family story about a father and a son. So when it came time, 1994, when George Lucas, when it was time to write a new trilogy, a prequel trilogy, he really couldn't go wrong, right? Because he knew the story he was telling. He just had to get the vision onto paper. And what we got in The Phantom Menace was a brilliant precursor for what is to come. I felt that The Phantom Menace was a glorious episode 1, because not only did it have very mirroring elements to A New Hope, but it also told its own story, and it was able to set up for what I believe is the most important movie in cinema history, Star Wars Episode 2: Attack of the Clones. I just told you how the first 4 Star Wars movies could not fail, right? But Episode 2, the 5th installment, it had every chance to fail. It had every reason to fail. Yet it told the miraculous and such human-defining story of an awkward teenage boy meeting the woman that he's been in love with for a decade, being clunky and awkward. And you have to remember, when it comes to Anakin Skywalker in Episode 2, he is a 19-year-old virgin dork that loves to build things and gets told day in and day out that he's the chosen one, right? He absolutely played the hell out of that character. You have to remember, right? when we see these movie stars on screen, when we see these heroes and these spectacles, you have to remember that these are living beings being portrayed here. Anakin Skywalker was a 19-year-old virgin male. Of course he's going to be nervous. Of course he's going to say some goofy buck wild things to literally the hottest, most beautiful, angelic woman in the entire galaxy. So I think his facial expressions were great. I think the way he portrayed the lines were great. I think the lines were great. It doesn't make much sense to me why all these critics and all these dorks who in it of themselves were that 19-year-old virgin, why they can't comprehend that. Why would Anakin say something smooth? Why would he use W-Riz here? But in fact, it was W-Riz, because after he said, "I don't like sand. It's coarse and it's rough. It gets everywhere." Then bro hit W-Riz. But it's not like you, soft and tender, and then they kiss. Are you kidding me? With the sight line of Lake Como in the background, a Naboo. Come on, man. Absolute W-Riz from our boy Anakin Skywalker. Absolute W writing. And in my estimations, it's the most important movie because it tells the story of a boy becoming a man. And it tells the story of a boy becoming a man and all the mistakes along the way. Freaking solid question there, hen dude. Very solid question. Next question. There's two questions from the same person. So the first question is from Fire Lord Iroh. How do you feel about Ahsoka living through the original trilogy? Does it lessen the impact of Yoda's line, "The last of the Jedi you will be"? If Ahsoka wasn't helping the rebellion or on Endor, doesn't that reflect poorly on her? Yes, I do believe so. I do believe so. You know, we don't know her exact ambitions at the moment, but after the Battle of Endor comes The Mandalorian, right? And in season 2 of The Mandalorian, Ahsoka Tano is hunting down Morgan Elsbeth and her master, Grand Admiral Thrawn. So we really need to know what was going on between the end of Rebels and the beginning of The Mandalorian with Ahsoka Tano. We really need to know what was going on, because what was she doing the whole time? We see her fight with Darth Vader, right? We see her fight Darth Vader. We see her fight Inquisitors. What was she doing during the original trilogy? Where was she when Obi-Wan took his last breath? Did she feel it in the Force? Where was she when Luke killed Anakin? Where was she when Anakin died? Did she feel it in the Force? Where was she? We know that she's attuned with the Jedi at the end, in the end, because we hear her speak to Rey in the Rise of Skywalker. But where was she in 4, 5, 6? You know, she's around. She's an old lady. She's kicking it in her 50s in the Ahsoka show. So what is she doing now? In the original trilogy, where is she at? What's she doing? I don't think it lessens the impact of Yoda's line, but it really does, you know. It really does draw into speculation, because when Yoda says, "The last of the Jedi you will be" to Luke, it really makes me think of the beginning of Chapter 2 in Star Wars Heir to the Empire by Timothy Zahn, when Ben comes to say goodbye to Luke. He's just not strong enough in the Force to keep appearing. And it's time to say goodbye. Luke knows and has learned all he has. And Luke is sat there questioning himself like, then I really am the last of the Jedi. And Ben tells him, you are the last of the old Jedi, but you are the first of the new. And that makes me a bit more optimistic than Yoda's line, Luke, the last of the Jedi, you will be. Luke, there is another Skywalker. So, I wouldn't say it lessens the impact, but it obviously, both are framing it in different ways. Where Yoda has always been very, very, very pessimistic, Obi-Wan's always been optimistic. Yoda saying, hey man, figure it out, you're all we got. Ben is saying, hey man, get it going. It's on you now. And obviously we see in the Book of Boba Fett when Ahsoka and Luke intertwine and they meet for a few hours on Ossus. We don't know if it's the first time that they've met. We don't know if it's the last time that they'll meet, but I think it is important that they did meet, that they did discuss Anakin and what it means to be a Jedi. And I hope that in the second season of Ahsoka, we get to see her fully commit to being a Jedi again, because let's be real, it feels weird having Ahsoka Tano with a Padawan, yet she keeps claiming that she's not a Jedi. It's weird. I don't know. Great question though. Next question is again from Fire Lord Iroh. How do you feel about the Chosen One prophecy? Does it feel unearned or random, considering it was nowhere in the franchise until the prequel trilogy? How long should the balance last? And what should that balance look like? Do the Imperial remnants and First Order conflict with my feelings of the prophesized balance? Great question. In fact, let me have a quick drink of water before I answer that. Alrighty, so how do I feel about the Chosen One prophecy? Personally, I love it. I think it is brilliant that centuries and centuries and centuries ago, someone had a message from the Wills that said, fear not, despair not, no matter how dark it gets, worry not. You know, it's very biblical. It is the most Christ-worthy prophecy that I can think of, being a man, a God-fearing man myself, right? It's the most Christ-feeling prophecy that at one point in time, a Jedi had a communication from the wills that said, "Worry not, fear not, because one day the One will come, the One will bring balance, and the One will end the darkness for eternity." How crazy is that? That on a random day, just think of this, like, put yourself in their shoes. What would, like, if you woke up one day and a sentient being from a dimension that you've never felt, a dimension that you've never seen, a dimension that you've never fathomed before, came down, touched you, and said, "Worry not, fear not, for one day there will be peace, there will be balance in the Force. Everything will be okay, because I'm gonna send the One. We are gonna send the One. The Force is going to send the One." Right? So think of it, like, for thousands of years, this is a known thing. Like, oh, yeah, in the text it says, you know, the Chosen One will come bring balance to the Force. Cool. Like, it is what it is. Right? Just think of that. Thousands of years. Think of how many potential Chosen Ones that there were. They probably took it pretty seriously, so we're not talking about like one every couple of years. But you have to think, 25,000 years of Jedi. How many times did a child come with an insane number of midichlorians, right? Walk up and someone say, "I believe that this child is the Chosen One. The one that was written, the one that was communicated by the wills, that will bring balance to the Force and end the Sith." How many times do you think that happened? I would say at least a handful. At least a handful. So phrase it like this. For a millennium, the Sith are extinct. For a millennium. Do the Jedi think somewhere along the way that the Chosen One has already came and gone? Because the Sith are gone, right? The Sith are nowhere to be found. And then all of a sudden, the same day that Qui-Gon Jinn discovers the Chosen One is the exact same day that the Sith put their plan in place to begin the downfall of the Jedi and the Republic as we know it. What happened first? Did Palpatine kill Plagueis before Qui-Gon found Obi-Wan? Before Qui-Gon found Anakin? What happened first? I think it is such a beautiful prophecy, and I feel it is completely earned. I feel it's completely earned because something that I always like to phrase, and something that I like to use when I explain these things. Take The Rock, right? I was never a big fan of The Rock in wrestling. The Rock would say, oh, this guy's a jabroni. This guy is a joke. He's got a bum knee. He can't walk right. Can't run right. He can't fight right. I'm going to whoop his ass. It's not going to be nothing. Then you have a guy like CM Punk. That's right. You are going to whoop my ass. That's right. I can't walk right. That's right. I can't fight right. That's right. You are the Rock. You are the great one. The Brahma Bull. Ever so fighting. Standing as tall as Andre the Giant, you know? Who would it mean more for them to win? The Rock, who is saying his opponent sucks anyways? Or CM Punk for saying his opponent's great, his opponent's awesome, he's the underdog anyways? Who would it mean more? If The Rock beats this guy who said, The Rock said that he's gonna destroy, and he beats him, so what? He said he was gonna do it. He said it was gonna be easy. It was easy. But if CM Punk beats The Rock, CM Punk, who said, oh yeah, you are the great one. You are supposed to beat me. I am injured. I am getting my ass kicked. Well, guess what? I still beat you. It would obviously mean more if CM Punk wins. That is why I think it is ever so important in this franchise that for Luke Skywalker to save Anakin, you need to big up Anakin. You need to make Anakin's prophecy important. You need Anakin's mission from the Force to be to destroy the Sith. Because what does he do? What does Anakin do? He joins the Sith. He becomes a Sith. He becomes a Dark Lord of the Sith. Right? And then in his final moments, his last act, for the love of his child, for the love of Padme, for the love of Leia, for the love of Obi-Wan, for the love of the Jedi, he saves his son. He throws his master to his death. He destroys the Sith. They are no more. It is so important. And it is riddled throughout the saga. Anakin Skywalker, the chosen one, he is the greatest star pilot in the galaxy and a cunning warrior. And he was a good friend. It's so important that he gets framed to be this amazing man, this amazing human being that loved people, that wanted to save people and teach people and help people. The person that only ever wanted good things from life. The person who came from nothing, who came from slavery, who was beaten, battered, betrayed, torn apart, run amok, hoodwinked, hornswoggled, his entire life. It is so important that we have these things. It is so crucial that we frame and we write Anakin to be this amazing person. Because when he comes crumbling down, so do we. And to have his son and his daughter be the two that lift him up, that lift him out of that shadow into the sun and say, this is who you are. This is what you are. You are Anakin Skywalker. This is not you, Dad. You know it to be true. I am a Jedi, like my father before me. He wasn't saying that to the Emperor. He was saying that to Vader. He was saying that to Anakin. Anakin heard that and said, holy shit, What have I done? And what was his very next act? He got up. He is torn apart. He is missing limbs. He's missing robotic limbs. He's defeated. He is done. What is his next act? He gets right back up like a Jedi does. Because it doesn't matter how hard you get hit. What matters is if you get up. And he throws the Emperor over, effectively killing himself in the process. But he is doing it to save his son from the very fate that he couldn't save himself from. Doing so, effectively completing the prophecy. I love Anakin Skywalker, and I love the Chosen One prophecy. Great question, Fire Lord. The next one is from Elman Berg Supporter. What is my least favorite Star Wars movie? Man, I kind of want to look up the dictionary definition of favorite on this one, right? So favorite, preferred before all others of the same kind. Preferred. Let's look up the dictionary definition of preferred. Liked better or best. So I like it better or best than all others of the same kind. Inversed. I do not like it more than any other of the same kind. Okay, I do not like it any other. The Last Jedi. I think The Last Jedi effectively tackled their own teammate. You know? We got the ball, 25-yard line. We're playing football. We're playing football. It's overtime, right? We just have a killer comeback. We're down 31 to start the second half. We come back and we tie it up with a field goal at the buzzer, right? We go into overtime. We flip the coin. We lose the toss. They choose to receive. We're like, all right, bet we'll kick. We trust our D. Do we? Not really. Our safety's got a bum knee. So we kick it off, and guess what? That same safety goes down. Causes a fumble. Boof. Our ball, 45-yard line, right? 45-yard line. Say there was like excessive celebration, 15-yard penalty. Our ball, the 45-yard line, coming in as the quarterback. It is J.J. Abrams, and he's gonna first play. You know, we're going spread. We're going empty formation, right? We're gonna motion the running back next to us. Running back is going to be Finn. Wide receivers are gonna be Ray and Kylo Ren. We also got Hux as like the tight end, and Poe Dameron as the other wide receiver. All right. Poe Dameron, he's supposed to be dead anyways, right? But he's alive. Hand the ball off to Finn. Gets about 7 yards. Takes us up to the 38. All right, we're low-key in field goal range already. We only need a field goal. We only need a field goal to win, right? Beautiful. Next play. Again, we just gained 7. 2nd and 3. We're going to take a shot here. 2nd and 3. J.J. Abrams gets the ball, goes back to pass. He reads his hot, his shallow, his dig. Nothing's there. He's going to shoot. He throws it to Finn. Gets blown up. Big old defensive end, Kathy Kennedy. Rips him up. Incomplete pass. 3rd and 3. J.J. Abrams is down. right? We got to go to the backup. Who's the backup? Ryan Johnson. Here I come, guys. I'm Ryan Johnson. 3rd and 3. All we have to do is get positive less than or greater than or equal to 3 yards, right? Because we're already kind of in field goal range. We got a good kicker. We got Luke Skywalker kicking for us. And then this is what we do. Ready, set. That's hot. False start. Offense. Back it up 5 yards. Down, set. Grenade. Ready, set. Oh, delay game. Back it up 5 yards. So now we just went from 3rd and 3, 3rd and 13. So then Ryan Johnson takes the snap, looks back, he starts panicking. He sees pressure coming. And rather than get rid of it, rather than throw it to Rey is wide open over the middle. Oh, Kylo Ren, wide open deep. He just falls. Loss of 8. 4th and 21. We send Luke Skywalker out to try and win the game. 4th and 21. Luke Skywalker is kicking a 77-yard field goal. Of course he's gonna fail. Of course he's gonna miss. You know? I think The Last Jedi took what was a promising drive and absolutely flopped it. There was nothing relatively wrong about The Force Awakens, right? You could take The Force Awakens from right here, base buck standard, and make such a great sequel. But what did they do instead? Ryan Johnson wanted to leave his mark on Star Wars, and he was allowed to do it. And they made the worst Star Wars movie and my least favorite Star Wars movie because it took a character that I cared so much about, Rey. Took a character that I cared so much about, Ben. Took a character that I cared so much about, Luke Skywalker. And it essentially told them, who were fish, go climb a tree. Go climb a tree. Oh, everything that we built up for you in the last movie means nothing. Everything that we built up for you in the last movie means nothing. General Hux, comedy character now. Poe Dameron, comedy character now. Finn, comedy character now. Luke Skywalker, psych. You are a caricature of Luke Skywalker. And it's because of The Last Jedi that I am writing my book, Star Wars: The Shattered Apprentice. Coming soon, in development right now. I just can't stand that movie, man. I can't believe that it's done such irreparable damage to the franchise that I love, you know? And someone had the wherewithal to greenlight it. And no one stepped up, and no one stepped in, and no one made their mind heard. No one said, this sucks, get this guy the fuck out of here. It's terrible. Ryan Johnson sucks. He should be banned from Hollywood. But rather, I'll just ban him from Star Wars. I never want to see that man mention our IP again. Our IP. Star Wars is for fans by fans in today's day and age. That's what I believe. Screw Ryan Johnson, you big nerd. Screw you. This one is from Anthony P. How interesting do you think a Count Dooku show would be? I would love a Count Dooku show. A Count Dooku show that showed him from a very cocky teenager to a very impatient man to a very intense adult. Like, you could show the setups, you could show everything that happened. You can go in depth with what went on in Tales of the Jedi, because I thought Tales of the Jedi was beautiful. I think, God, just expand on it, man. Take these stories that we want them, please, 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 you know? We want these stories. Tell them to us. We beg of you. So that is how interesting I think a Count Dooku show could be. I am literally begging for one. Any kind of Qui-Gon content, any kind of Yoda content, any kind of Jedi lore content, any kind of Sifo-Dyas content I can get. More. Please. I want more. I know I shouldn't. Alrighty, that's going to wrap it up for the Galactic Dispatches segment. If you guys have any questions, leave them in the comments. Join my Discord. You can ask them in there. Tweet at us at Star Wars TAP, or follow us on Instagram at Star Wars TAP and DM us some questions there. I love answering questions. It's like my favorite thing to do in the entire world. So any and all questions, feel free to ask them. I do appreciate it. Much love. And we move on to Kim's Picks, Nuclear Hot Takes. Follow Kim's Picks on X at Kim's Picks. My hot take for this week's podcast is, listen, I'm excited for the new Rey movie. I want to see what the Jedi are like. A few years away, a few years removed. I want to see what the Jedi are cooking up. I want to see what they're getting into. I want to see what's going on in the galaxy. Why is that so crazy? That's what I want to know. Why is that so crazy? But it's a hot take. It is a hot take. And listen, I'm not even a huge, like, there's these people that like the sequels just to like the sequels. I'm not like that. I like the sequels for certain points, certain purposes. I don't think that The Rise of Skywalker is a inherent terrible movie considering kind of what it had to work with. But I do think that they're not the best movies, right? They're not cracking the top 8 movies. It's probably, The Force Awakens is probably better than Solo. Solo's a good movie though. I liked Solo. Solo is fun. But episode 8 and 9, I don't blame 9, right? Episode 9 is like that younger sibling who episode 8 went through school and was just a complete D-bag. Teachers hated him. The faculty hated him. Students hated him. And guess what? You have to follow in his shoes, with his hand-me-downs, with his pressures put on you. That was my life, by the way. Shout out to my brother, but he was the biggest little brown-nosing D-bag in school, bro. Teachers either loved him or hated him. And same with my 2 older siblings, either loved or hated. And I always got the crumbs of that. I always got the same treatment no matter what. So I am the Rise of Skywalker. My siblings were 6, 7, 8, and 9 respectively. And yeah, I got treated like, whoo, I got treated terribly because of that sometimes. But that's another hot take. I would say I'm excited for these Rey movies because I'm a lore nut. I want to see what's going on in the galaxy at the time. What's gone on in the next 15 years, you know? What do the Jedi look like? What is the Republic? The new Republic? Because that's what this is. It is the new Republic. First Order's gone. What's the threat? That's what I want to know. And then we've got, moving on to the next segment, we're going to kick off a new segment called The Legends Ledger. And today I want to talk just a little brief about Darth Revan, the Prodigal Knight. Now, today on The Legends Ledger, we are diving into the story of one of the most fascinating and complex characters in Star Wars history, Darth Revan. He was both Jedi and Sith, and depending on where you went, Jedi again or remained a Sith. His story explores what happens when you're willing to sacrifice everything for knowledge and power. Revan was a very brilliant but very hot-headed Jedi. And he was a absolute brilliant tactician. He was so focal, so key during the Mandalorian Wars, to his ultimate downfall and his ultimate turn when he took a third of the Jedi with him and decided to create his own covenant. Now, his turn to the dark side and then later his return to the light were a perfect story and a perfect lesson for talking about the line between good and evil. Our Revan really is Anakin, but it's kind of like if Vader turned in his prime, except his prime was when he was Anakin and he got cut down well before his prime. But Revan has a long-standing legacy in the Force, both with the Jedi and with the Sith. If it wasn't for Revan, we don't have the Rule of Two. We don't have Darth Bane, and we don't really have anything that goes on in the Skywalker saga because it was Darth Bane's holocrons, his Sith holocrons, that were effectively teaching Bane the core tenets of what it meant to be a Sith and what it meant to be a Sith under the Rule of Two. With Revan especially, the concept of balance kind of is portrayed within Revan as a whole, because whether you took him to the light or you took him to the dark or you just stayed balanced, right? And we're not talking about balance of the Force, because balancing of the Force means that there is no darkness and there is only light. That is what balance means. We're not talking about 2 Jedi, 2 Sith, 2 and 2, balance, Kaikona. No, that is not balance. When things are good, things are not equally bad, right? That is, think of balance as just goodness. When times are good, there's nothing bad going on. And that's what bringing balance to the Force was. It was healing the Force. It was extinguishing the dark and letting the light reign supreme. Because when you use the Force, you are using the Force, right? And you're either using it for selflessness or selfishness. If you get rid of the selfishness and you only have the helpful parts, boosh, bish bash bosh, you are in essence bringing balance to the Force. And with Revan, using both sides of the Force without completely adhering to one of them was very foreign prior to that. And I think that's why he is so loved by fans, because he's the embodiment of the struggle between the light and the dark, and the ultimate redemption from the dark to the light. This could also lead into a discussion about parallels between Revan and Anakin, but we're just going to talk about Revan for a little bit. And a lot of people ask me the question, even people like, you'd be surprised how many like quiet Star Wars fans there are, and they always ask me, you think Revan's gonna be brought into canon? And my answer always is, listen, like, you can do it, but once you do it, you can't undo it. Do you know what I mean by that? So, question of the week: how would you bring Revan into canon? Let me know in the comments. I'd be very curious to know. I would be very curious to know. Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, it is time to dive into the hyperspace highlights. With this, we are going over to our friends, the Bespin Bulletin, as we have tons of news to talk about, some of which is good, other of which is up for debate. So let me know what you think in the comment section below about this news. But number one, and this was reported today, Daisy Ridley's Rey reportedly has an Obi-Wan Kenobi type role in Simon Kinberg's Star Wars trilogy. That's very interesting, because Obi-Wan Kenobi wasn't really the main character of the prequels, while he was a centerpiece in all three movies. Qui-Gon was pretty much the main cat in the first movie. He had the most screen time. Anakin then took over, while Obi-Wan remained the same. So, question, do we think that Rey is going to be that transitionary champion? You know? But, yes, Simon Kinberg is tasked to write and produce Star Wars episodes 10, 11, and 12. That, I think, is good news. Having the same guy writing all three is good news. No matter what, I think it's good news. There's going to be some Star Wars Andor and The Mandalorian and Grogu footage, screenshots being featured at D23 Brazil, so stay tuned for that. And if you're gonna watch it, I won't be watching it, but the Skeleton Crew trailer has been released. Go check it out. And then we've got the Star Wars Mandalorian and Grogu movie will continue filming until December, so that's also pretty exciting. Beyond that, there hasn't been tons of new news, despite in the end of October we got news that Daisy Ridley tells fans that Star Wars New Jedi Order is evolving, that there will be an exciting update soon, and then 2 days later the writer for the movie quit. So that's really exciting. Ahsoka Season 2 will begin filming in spring of 2025. And Ewan McGregor confirms Lucasfilm are exploring ideas for a second season of Star Wars Obi-Wan Kenobi. I'd love to be involved in that. And then Donald Glover confirms that he's still working on Lando, wants the movie to be fun, says Star Wars is too serious. I agree with that bit. I think people try too hard with Star Wars, and rather than trying too hard, you just need to do it. Do or do not. There is no try. So that's my belief. That is my belief. But yes, I'm very excited for the future of Star Wars. Very excited for what we have coming very soon. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below about all of that. And of course, If you have any galactic dispatches, to send them over my way. And my holocron insight, my final thought today, I think I'd like to leave it at do or do not. There is no try. Whether you're doing schoolwork, work, hobby work, just do it. Like, don't worry about it. Don't worry about what other people think. Because no matter what, there's going to be someone that doesn't like it, right? But there's going to be a lot more people that do. So, screw what people even think in the first place. Make the art that makes you happy. Create the things that make you happy. And have fun doing it. It's been your boy, SoTeeko. I do appreciate each and every single one of you. And we'll catch you in the next edition of Star Wars, The Archives podcast. Have a good one. Peace, love, and life. Deuces, Manuses.